My name is Emma, and today I'm going to share a story that completely changed my life. Sometimes the people who say I love you are the same people who hurt you the most. Sometimes trusting the wrong person can break your heart. And sometimes losing someone is actually a blessing. This is the story of the wrong man. Emma was a 24-year-old girl living in New York City. She worked at a publishing company and lived alone in a small apartment. After losing her father years ago, she slowly stopped believing in love. She buried herself in work, avoided relationships, and convinced herself that depending on people only leads to pain. Her life had become routine work. Coffee, sleep, and loneliness, hidden behind fake smiles. But one rainy evening changed everything. That night, heavy rain poured across the city streets. Emma rushed into a crowded coffee shop, completely soaked and exhausted after a stressful day at work. Every table was full except for one small seat beside a man sitting quietly near the window. He looked up, smiled warmly, and said, "You can sit here if you want." His name was Daniel. At first, Emma planned to stay silent. But Daniel had a calm energy that made conversation feel natural. They talked about books, dreams, childhood memories, and life in New York. Hours passed without either of them noticing. For the first time in years, Emma laughed without forcing it. Before she left, Daniel stopped her gently. "Can I see you again sometime?" he asked. Emma hesitated for a second before smiling softly. "Maybe?" That maybe became the beginning of everything. Over the next few weeks, Daniel slowly became part of Emma's life. Every morning she woke up to sweet messages from him. He remembered small details about her favorite coffee, the books she loved, and even the songs she listened to when she felt sad. For the first time in years, Emma felt seen. Daniel made her feel special in ways nobody ever had before. He surprised her with flowers at work, took her on late-night walks through the city, and stayed on video calls with her until she fell asleep. Emma's walls slowly disappeared. One night, while sitting beside the river, Daniel looked into her eyes and said, "You know, meeting you feels like fate." Emma smiled, her heart racing. She wanted to believe him, and eventually she did. Months passed, and Emma fell deeply in love with him. She imagined birthdays together, future trips, maybe even marriage. One day Daniel became her safe place, or at least that's what she thought. But sometimes people hide the ugliest truths behind the sweetest smiles. One evening, Emma waited outside a restaurant where she and Daniel planned to have dinner together. She checked her phone again and again, while rain lightly touched the streets around her. 40 minutes passed. Just when she was about to leave, she noticed Daniel across the street. But he wasn't alone. A beautiful woman stood beside him, laughing as he held her hand. Then suddenly the woman hugged him and kissed him. Emma froze. Her heart dropped so fast it felt painful to breathe. Without thinking, she turned around and ran home crying. Her mind refused to believe what her eyes had just seen. The next morning, Daniel appeared outside her apartment looking nervous. "Emma, please let me explain," he said. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Who was she? Daniel stayed silent for several seconds before quietly saying, "She's my fiancée." Emma felt like the entire world stopped moving. "She's what?" Daniel quickly explained that his family forced him into the engagement because of business connections. He claimed he never loved Sophia and only stayed because of pressure from his parents. "But I love you," he whispered. Emma stared at him in disbelief. "If you truly loved me," she said painfully, "you would have told me the truth from the beginning." Then she pointed toward the door. "Leave." And for the first time since meeting him, Daniel had no words left. Weeks passed, but Daniel refused to give up. He sent flowers almost every day. Long apology letters arrived at Emma's apartment. He called her repeatedly, begging for another chance. Eventually, Emma's heart softened. She wanted to believe that people could change. She wanted their love story to be real so badly that she ignored the warning signs inside her mind, and that became her biggest mistake. One evening, Daniel was at Emma's apartment while she cooked dinner. Everything felt normal again. He laughed, kissed her forehead, and talked about their future together. Then his phone buzzed while he was in the shower. Emma glanced at the screen casually, but the message made her blood run cold. "Can't wait for our wedding next month, Sophia." Her hand started shaking. Slowly, Emma unlocked the phone using the password Daniel once proudly shared with her. Message after message appeared on the screen. Sophia discussing wedding dresses. Daniel promising her forever. Photos together. Romantic texts. Lies. So many lies. Emma realized Daniel had never planned to leave Sophia at all. He was living two different lives while making both women believe they were special. When Daniel walked out of the shower, he immediately noticed the phone sitting on the table. Emma looked at him with disappointment instead of tears this time. "Still planning your wedding?" she asked coldly. Daniel panicked. "Emma, listen." "No," she interrupted firmly. "You don't get to lie to me again." He tried explaining, blaming pressure, fear, confusion, anything to save himself. But Emma finally saw the truth clearly. "The problem isn't me," she said quietly. "The problem is you." And this time she walked away forever. The breakup destroyed Emma emotionally. For weeks she barely slept. She cried during work breaks, ignored friends, and replayed every memory in her head, wondering what was real and what was fake. The hardest part wasn't losing Daniel. It was accepting that the person she trusted never truly existed. One night, Emma stood in front of her mirror staring at herself with swollen eyes. "I deserve better than this," she whispered. That moment became the start of her healing. She joined a gym, started therapy, and slowly rebuilt her confidence piece by piece. Some days were painful. Some nights she still cried. But little by little, Emma became stronger. A week later came Daniel's wedding day. Emma almost didn't go, but deep inside, she needed closure. She needed to see the ending with her own eyes. When she arrived outside the church, she unexpectedly saw Sophia standing alone near the entrance, holding her engagement ring tightly in her hand. Sophia looked heartbroken. "He lied to both of us," she said softly. Emma nodded silently. For a moment, the two women who had once unknowingly competed for the same man understood each other completely. Inside the church, guests smiled happily while Daniel stood proudly at the altar, believing everything was under control. But then Sophia walked slowly down the aisle and stopped in front of him. The room fell silent. Sophia removed her engagement ring and looked directly into Daniel's eyes. "I'm not marrying a liar." Gasps filled the church. Then Emma stepped forward beside her. "And neither of us deserves a man who plays with people's hearts." Daniel's face turned pale. For the first time, nobody believed his excuses anymore. His lies had finally destroyed everything. Sophia walked away proudly. Emma walked away stronger. And Daniel was left completely alone. 1 year later, Emma moved to Chicago and started a brand new life. She found a better job, made new friends, and slowly rediscovered happiness without depending on anyone else. She began writing about her experiences and sharing motivational stories online to help others heal from heartbreak. And one evening, while sitting near a lake watching the sunset, Emma finally understood something important. Being alone is far better than being with the wrong person. Some people enter your life not to love you forever, but to teach you lessons you'll never forget. And sometimes heartbreak is not the end of your story. Sometimes it's the beginning of finding yourself again. Lesson of the story: never ignore red flags just because you love someone. A person who truly loves you will never make you question your worth, your value, or your trust. Real love brings peace, not confusion, lies, and pain. And remember, it's always better to walk away from the wrong person than spend your entire life begging for love from someone incapable of giving it.